Hello and welcome to Big Scott 35. This is my Saturday, usually morning one on 10/1. Happy October to everybody. Um, I'm doing this for Mike Moynihan, baseball collector, pet peeves in a hobby. So I watched this last night. I know this is a quick turnaround, but I want to do a Saturday one. Sorry, I'm coming out late today with this. Where I live at in North Carolina, we were in that direct path of the storm yesterday. It was tropical by the time we got here, but we were actually on the just outside the left edge, so we didn't get too bad. But my power and everything kept flickering, and so I didn't want to really try to do a video of power going mess with that. So I just decided to do it today. Just want to wake up good enough to do it because I don't I don't write scripts or nothing, so everything's right off the top of my head. But watching this video, I agreed with most of or all of his pet peeves, and the number one with me, just to agree with him on, is pricing at shows for dealers. That absolutely drives me crazy. I sometimes will just walk away, especially if a dealer. It feels like the dealer tries to size up the potential buyer sometimes to see if the knowledge they have before they give you a price. Uh, it's some of the feeling I got the last few shows uh, that they just kind of they'll try to highball it. They're trying to get as much money out of the noobs, I think. I don't think that's totally it, but I got that feeling. And also, like Mike said, they're waiting till that, they don't want to lose a dollar for some reason, even though most of us, a comp is a comp. Just because the last one sold for 40 doesn't mean the next one needs to sell for 42. Um, you should know what you have into it, which is another term that's one of my pet peeves, and know what you need to get out of it or willing to go let it go at. Because now, way prices are, you might have to lose a little to gain some at the end. And what do I mean by that is just you might have to sell some things just to get from under it to use that money to buy other stuff to kind of almost start over again. But I'm not a dealer. I don't have to deal with that. I do sell some stuff, but it's just stuff to get out of my. I have so much of it. I just want to get rid of some of it. Dupes and cards that just don't fit my collection or whatever. But see, I ramble, so I like to I like to talk. So I love doing this one. Thanks, Mike. I guess we'll stay with shows. And my pet peeve, which I didn't know until the last few I went to, they have grown, and these dealers, all of them want to get to as many shows as they are. So these ones that are in like these hotels with the small conference rooms, these older motels where they don't have big ballrooms or whatever space, and they get shoehorn as many tables as they can in there. They're in the hallway. You can't hardly walk around. You're waiting for the fire marshal to come and shut the whole thing down. You get, it don't take a lot of people to just clog up everything. And then, you have somebody that has some issues, like they need a walker or a wheelchair, and they have just as much right as the rest of us. And that just, it's hard. And the last couple I went to was just not fun. Um, it don't take many people to just block up everything, and it's just I get frustrated, and I don't have fun when I'm frustrated, and that's what I do the hobby for. If I want to get frustrated, I go work overtime on the weekends. Um, I just don't that right now these only sell the tables that you have space for, and if you need more space, find a bigger space to do it in. You need to think about the buyers. So I'm kind of stepping away from those two if they keep having them at the same place, which it looks like they are, because they probably already rented those spots out for a while. But not for me. I can eBay it or wait for bigger shows, or there's enough shows where I'm at now where I can pick and choose. It's not quite the way it was when I was in Iowa or even Virginia. There's tons of. I didn't realize how many shows are down here in Carolina, but they're not all run very well. So that's one of my pet peeves at shows. And I think the other thing it shows is organization. Like, bring your cards and be a little organized. I tend to walk by tables that just throw their stuff out in display cases. They're stacked, just thrown out there willy nilly. Their boxes just look like a hurricane came through it. No organization whatsoever. Uh, the last show I went to in Hickory, there I found a guy that had boxes, and I know now, boxes now are they're they're value, but you find like good. That's where they're not necessarily dollar cards, right? So, or even if they are, they're not really dollar cards. They're just cards they're trying to get rid of. Um, I just guy had a very good setup. Even the small show, I found one in the middle. He had chairs, so I kind of just posted up, but I couldn't see everything because there was two other people, and that was just enough to block up everything. So, the organization of doing. If you're going to be a salesperson, just think about what kind of store you go into. Do you want to go into a store where everything's just thrown up on the shelves, and maybe you don't even know what the prices are, or do you want to go in a store that's organized, things are in rows and things like that? I know at the show it's hard to keep it organized, but you can keep your displays organized. I don't even approach a display if I just see it all thrown in there, just haphazardly. And also just makes me. How do you even see what that person has? I don't understand that. And as you can see, it does bother me because I'm talking about it. And of course, I don't really bother me with the Pelican cases as much as it does. It seems like it bothers other people. The only problem I have with those people is they usually hang out in groups, and the whole group stands there and blocks it up. Much less the guy with the Pelican case. That infuriates me. So there's no. I've heard people talk about having at a show how you're supposed to act, and a lot of these newer people just don't get it. And we all live in these little bubbles, it seems like, and we don't look out for the next person outside of our bubble to make sure. I am very much look out for my fellow human beings. So I guess I get frustrated when it's not. I get very frustrated in airports because of that. Very much. It just drives me crazy. Now I'm done with shows. There's, I could pet peeve all day. Now with the collecting aspect of it, right now, or even, started, is just retail product. I know some people say that it's all in theirs. I have yet to find like full shelves stuff to get, and I'm fine with that to some extent because I have a card shop that gets cases of blasters in as well and stuff. So if I don't have enough money to buy a box, I can go to him and get a blaster. And he sells it at the retail price. And then he even has the older stuff where you can buy 3 and get 1 for free. So, I get stuff at a very good price. Now I did saying that at Walmart, I found last year's Chronicles actually marked down. So, maybe it's a start, and you can find it, but um, it's just destroyed a lot of times. Where people have picked through it trying to find the weights and all that. So, uh, and also just people that are not in it for the hobby; they're in it for the money. Um, I don't know how much money they're getting. I'm sure during the COVID they were doing pretty well, but now it's for the baseball side. I know they're not getting it, but I see. I walked into a Walmart and saw 6 Prism basketballs up there. I mean, so I don't know what's really going on with that. Now, like the football stuff is nuts. The boxes and even basketball hobbies nuts, but I just hopefully that all straighten itself out. When it and I meant to say this. I'm not scripted, so I got to go back. One thing about dealers is with the vintage is still higher than what it was, but it's coming back down to some reality, and they're behind times, just like they're behind times pricing it up. I think they're behind times dropping it down, and they're doing it. I'm what I'm in for type of deal. So, I'm kind of hoping all this. So I kind of wait for a Chantilly show, and that's more just to hang out with friends again. It's a small national. There'll be a lot of people from that region, from my YouTube world. So that's going to be fun. Uh, so when it comes to that, with the finding it and show at the retail, and then you go to shows and see it there on tables, and they're still trying to price it up. That's funny. It doesn't bother me. It's just funny. I try to think, other retail or hobby stuff. My pet peeve now is buying stuff and it's miscut. I did a rant on this last week or a week before. That is just uncalled for. We're in an age now where, yeah, perfection is perfection, but we should be closer to perfection than what we are. We should not be getting stuff, missing product, bad cuts, just really, just really backwards. And I understand that the card business, they think they're selling cards, but they have an understanding too that the bigger world expects good product, very good, like near to perfection as you can out of packages. I don't understand it's going to be mistakes, but not to like what we're having now. And I guess the next thing in grading for me is the same thing that Mike brought up was the upsells, charging more for. I've done I don't know how many rants on this thing on why you charge one price for one card and one for another. And I've used this as an example. Say when I found my father's collection, I did find a 52 mantle. I couldn't get it graded. I don't want to sell it. I want to keep it. So I don't. I why would I could not pay that to get it graded. So as much as everybody says, "Oh, we should only grade the stuff that should be graded," well, some of it you can't afford to grade. So, if I go to a show and buy a raw card for a couple of grand, and you turn around and tell me I got to spend $750 to get it graded, I just and it's not to resell. It's for me to have in my collection. That's a tough pill to swallow, or 250 or whatever the pricing is. So, that's just them trying to make money off of something that we have, and I find that a problematic. And then and pet peeves, and other than that, we all know what each company does, the times, and this, that, and the other. Now we can make choices on our own, and you should be aware of what's going on in the grading world, and if you don't ask somebody, if you're new, um, just do a little research, and it won't take long to know what's the benefits of each one and what's the cons of each one. So that's about my only pet peeve. And their PSA is not the only one that does that, but they're the biggest culprits of it. Um, Other than that, when it comes to YouTube, and many people have talked about it, it's just bad information, or just the exploiting the hobby, I would call it, of the newer people that all they have now is an understanding of the buying and reselling of the product, and it's a rush for them, and I understand that, and we need those people, but the people that prey on that group, uh, it is problematic, and a big problem in our culture, of the hobby. But it's a buyer beware, and you should take some responsibility. And you know, um, Carlos just made it's all right to sit on the sideline. I'm not gonna change my standards on how I buy things because the rationale of what the hobby's doing in prices. It's not, I don't have to go along with it. You don't have to go along with it. So, that's pretty much my pet peeves in a nutshell. I I love this hobby. I don't really those pet peeves. I get away. We can pick on a lot of different things, and I'll probably think of some later. Oh, I should have said this. And if I do, I'll bring it up in my Sunday show, which we will. Retro Hoops is scheduled to be there, so we will be talking a lot of grading with him, and also how he hobbies. I'm very interested in that. This is somebody that has exploded on the scene, and has a lot of great information, and I'm looking very forward to talking and meeting him. I'm not 100% familiar with him at all, and I know Natsman is, but Natsman might be busy because his job has something to do with what the terrible stuff going on with the hurricane, so he might be too busy to be on the show. So we'll find out. So until next time, like, share, tell a friend. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Hit that bell so you're notified. I try to stay on my schedule Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday. So until next time, see ya.